Hi, Vanessa Zamora here. We're at PubCon Dallas 2010, and joining me now is Wister Walcott. Wister is with Marin Software. Thanks for joining us, Wister.
My pleasure.
Okay, so Wister just finished a great session on PPC Uber Advanced. So we don't get the opportunity here to hear a lot of advanced tactics, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. If you want to kind of give us some tips and some great advice.
Sure. So actually, the very first slide of my presentation, which was posted on the Dallas PubCon website for this conference, talks about some of the greatest hits, I guess, of tips and techniques from prior presentations. I think that's the best sort of overview. We talked about how to pick the right creative. A lot of people will look at their creatives, and there's a switch in Google that lets you allow Google to choose the right creative for you. Now, not surprisingly, Google will choose the creative that generates the most revenue for Google.
Yeah, I was going to stop you there for a second because that's not always in your best interest, because I have worked with Google in the past. And at one point I made a really big mistake, and I did that. I thought, well, they're going to do the best thing in the world for me, and I took all this time and energy and I flipped that switch, and then I was like, oh my God, what did I do? Yeah. Go back. So, yeah, I'll let you go.
So at the same time, you can't just pick the creative that has the best conversion rate, because those might be relatively lower in terms of click-through. So you want to, it can be more expensive and might just not generate the volume that you want. So the right metric that we've found is revenue per impression, or in terms for mere mortals, revenue per 1,000 impressions is better. So you can look across your creatives inside an ad group and see what that revenue per impression metric is. That will help you determine what creative is really producing the most for you, and make sure you get enough data under your belt so you're not judging them prematurely. But
what other metrics do you think are really important and that often people overlook?
Well, anytime you can close the loop in paid search, that's sort of the name of the game for any sort of direct response. So you want to look at, if you're doing a lead form, you want to look at the quality of that lead. Might determine how much that lead is worth. So instead of just a flat CPA, anytime you can put an actual dollar amount on it, instead of a flat $30 per lead, maybe some leads are worth 15, some are worth 0, some are worth 50. Capture that data, stitch it back up with your search data to really determine what's driving. If you have a longer purchase cycle, like you're selling a product where people do research, they might not be buying on the same day that they do their click. So you want to line that back up with your click and make sure you understand, which keyword brought that in. Otherwise, you'd end up looking at a keyword which had no clicks on a given day but had a conversion that wouldn't make any sense. So.
I know that Google just released, they're doing search funnels now, so they're giving attributing to certain keywords. Can you talk a little bit about that and how marketers should actually be looking at that and dissecting?
So we have a whole white paper around this on the Marin Software website. We've studied a number of marketers for what was the term that they clicked on last before they converted, and what were the words that they clicked on prior to that. That's the search funnel thing. You can do that in Marin as well. We have not found that it makes a whole lot of difference. You can usually get away with just looking at the last term, and it works pretty well. The weaker your brand, the more the prior terms can have an effect on it, but I'd recommend studying it, but I would set everybody's expectations that they're probably not going to find a lot. We saw that half the visitors had done multiple searches. Typically, of that half the visitors, half of those, the prior term searched on was the same term that they searched on again. And then of that 25%, the term that they searched on previously, if it was different, it was in the same type of keyword category. In other words, if you have generic terms and brand terms, they did 2 generic terms. They did 2 brand terms. They didn't do generic and then brand, which is what everybody always thinks is, oh, that's my archetypal search funnel. People look for red Razor scooter, and then they end up typing like Sonic Razor scooter. But it doesn't seem to be the case. So.
Okay, so are you enjoying the show? We're going to switch gears a little bit. How many PubCons have you been to?
I love the Chex Mix. Gotta love Chex Mix. This is my second PubCon.
What's your second? So was your first Vegas?
Las Vegas last fall, yeah.
So will you be back?
We will be back.
Okay, speaking at, will you be coming to PubCon Vegas or maybe another regional
We'll
show?
see where I'm speaking, but I'm looking forward to attending regardless.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're about out of time. Thank you, Wister, for your time.
Thanks, Vanessa.
And we'll see you later. Thanks.